The Oklahoma Sooners 2025 recruiting class is on fire, but they're not done yet.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Sooner Nation? Welcome to Locked On Sooners, and thank you for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Today's episode and all recruiting episodes here on the Locked On Network are brought to you by LinkedIn. Go to linkedin.com/lockedoncollege and post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Joining me today is Brian Smith at FB Scout_Florida, covering recruiting and all that implies for the Locked On Network. Also covers Miami Hurricanes for SI, covers the Seminoles here for us on Locked On. He just has his hands in everything that's going on in the college football world. Make sure you go give Brian a follow. Brian, how you doing, man?
Doing well, sir. It's about to be my time. We're not quite there yet, but the official visit season is upon us.
That's right. It's going to be gearing up for a very busy stretch. And Oklahoma is one of those teams that is going to be having a busy summer, just like everybody. But unlike the previous two summers, they've already got a nice core of recruits committed to this 2025 class. So as we sit here 7 months from the December signing period, what do you make of Oklahoma's 2025 recruiting class?
They got bigger. I think that was something they started last year. Obviously, the D-line class, they got the two kids from IMG, one of which is a local kid, technically. But they got bigger, and I think, I don't know how you pronounce his last name, the Faji kid, the kid's right on the Louisiana border in Texas. You have to get kids like that. They're elite players consistently again. Oklahoma, when I was growing up, always had great lines, both sides of the ball. They're not where they need to be, probably on either side by Oklahoma standards. And that's why, I don't remember if FanDuel or one of them has Oklahoma at 7.5 wins this year. Oklahoma should never be that low. They're a year or two away. I know Oklahoma fans don't want to hear that, but this class can change that quickly. I love Tristan Haynes. I think he's a top 50 kid. I don't care what position he plays. He's going to play right away at Oklahoma. But again, the biggest thing is the size. They're starting to get some bigger guys, and that helps. And they're getting some versatility too. They're hitting Texas hard. Now they got to close on some of the elite kids, and they're battling UT, Southern Cal, Georgia, et cetera.
Yeah, we'll spend some time talking about the offensive line recruiting in the second segment, because that's, to me, the offensive line is what the defensive line was for the 2024 class. Yes. The David Stone, Jaden Jacksons, the high-profile recruitments for 2024 are now going to be battled on the offensive line for 2025. But you mentioned Tristan Haynes. What is it about his game that you like so much?
Not many kids that are definitively over 6 foot are twitchy like that. I grew up in Indiana, and I was blessed to see elite basketball growing up all over the place. And I even got to see Allen Iverson, who's still the twitchiest basketball player I ever saw. He's the kind of kid that even when he's behind, it doesn't matter if the ball's underthrown, it doesn't matter where it's at. He's super competitive, and he can go get it. He has a gear you can't teach in the moment. I don't care if he's going to play receiver or corner or safety for Oklahoma. Thumbs up. That's an NFL player. Barring injury, he should get paid. So that's a kid they couldn't lose, and every school in the country wanted him. Miami, Notre Dame, Penn State, everybody came after him. He decided to play for OU. That's a kid that has a chance to play from day one in their secondary. If you're going to get back to an elite program, that's a good way to do it. So, again, I don't care. You could probably play him at running back. He's just that good. So I think he's ranked 107 or something like that by 247, and that's way too low, in my opinion. If he was living in Orlando or New Orleans or something instead of the middle of nowhere, Oklahoma, he'd be ranked higher.
Yeah, I love the kid's tape too. I think even if he doesn't play as a starter or as a rotational cornerback, I mean, he's a punt returner that can make an impact absolutely. Easily, yes. Just with his athleticism, his speed, his quickness. I mean, he's going to be dynamic in that aspect just right away. And that's something that Oklahoma has to get better at. Is special teams has kind of been a net negative for them over the last couple of years. And they're working towards making it to where it's an actual impact unit for them. And Tristan Haynes in the 2025 class could be that.
I wonder if they're going to get a couple more guys like that just because they're in on so many players in Oklahoma and Texas like they should be. More Oklahoma of old. Give Venables and his staff credit. And we'll probably have the answers to a lot of the stuff we're talking about today by July 1st. But I think this has a chance to be a top 10 class. And I also think it has a chance to be an impact class, not just a long term, because they do need linemen and they take longer as a rule. But if you get Haynes, like the running back they got, Sperry's a good player. They're in on a lot of good football players that are going to fit their schemes. They've done well to recruit to their system. And to be honest, he's recruiting in a similar way to Dabo does. Does he fit us? That is so important. I hate it when the school picks a guy and they play him out of position or whatever. Oklahoma's doing a good job with that. I think this is going to be a program on the rise over the next few years, and it should be Oklahoma again by 25, 26.
Some of the important part of recruiting is casting a vision for the player that shows them, hey, you're going to fit this way in our system. You know, you can look at a number of guys that they play one spot for Lincoln Riley and then they went off somewhere else and they played in a different position and maybe had a little bit more success. But you see it across the country, right? You know, a guy that might've been a safety more traditionally or more naturally might've played out of position one place as a cornerback. If you can cast vision and make sure that those guys are lining up with their position group kind of from day one, I think it helps that transition to high school better. You talked about the size aspect, trying to get better. Now we saw what they did on the defensive line recruiting in 2024, offensive line as well. Trent Wilson out of Upper Marlboro, Maryland, was a big get for the Oklahoma Sooners. You talk about national recruits. He's one of those that everybody up in the Northeast, but across the country was trying to get. What do you know about his game and what he could potentially bring to the Oklahoma Sooners?
That's the first step. Get in the gap and be a disruptive player. Heavy hands, after contact, keeps grinding, keeps the feet moving. He's just a player that I think could have played anywhere. I think 247 has him like he's a 33rd D lineman in the country. Again, probably too low. Offer list showcases, okay, this kid can go wherever he wants. Penn State was very upset they didn't get him. Good sign because they recruit that area very well. After the two kids they got last year, they've already got two big guys for the middle already, and it's not even June. If you're an OU fan, you got to be really happy because compared to where they were just like 12 months ago at this time, it is night and day at defensive tackle. They've gotten additions, portal. They've gotten big-time high school kids signed and a couple committed. You will not get anywhere near a national title without defensive tackle recruiting. Ask any school that came up short, LSU included, in the portal. There just aren't enough of them. Oklahoma's ahead of the curve right now. So I think Oklahoma is trending in the right direction because you can't run the stuff that Venables wants to run without my guy being better than yours at D-tackle, and that's for everybody. You got to have some of those mismatches where you can only double one of them, and Stone's going to get the majority of them down the road, but that means Jackson's one-on-one. Most teams aren't going to block him one-on-one, and they're going to have guys to rotate. Oklahoma's going to be trending in the right direction with these D linemen, and then Venables is the mad scientist after that.
You kind of hinted at Kamari Moore a little bit from Lee Summit North in Missouri.
That's a big boy.
I think he's a dude that's also being a little bit underrated as things stand right now. Could potentially move himself into 4-star category. What do you like about his game?
He's a space eater. He has the power to like run over somebody, but he's a little bigger than like what Stone or Jackson were at this point. Probably going to have to reshape it. Like those guys had IMG training. That's a different animal all to itself. Like unless you've worked there like I have and been around it, it's hard to explain, but they have 2 facilities on their campus that are NFL level, literally, for weight room. It's insane. They're trained a little different, but this kid after a year, like a redshirt year, he's going to play. Again, you can't teach 290 and up and can move. Oklahoma's getting some of those kids, and most of the schools are not. So I tell this on every show I come on. There are 5 schools in the last 15 years that have kicked most people's butts at D-tackle. They're not going to surprise anybody. LSU, Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, and Ohio State. Which team usually favored to win the national title? It's one of those 5. What do they beat everybody at? Defensive tackle. It's the rarest position because there's the fewest of them. Oklahoma is entering that race. You got a chance.
So coming up here after the break, I want to ask you about the transfer portal defensive tackle edition that they added, Jonah Williams, because that was a big time, high profile recruitment that Oklahoma was able to win. And then we'll also talk some key recruiting battles along the offensive line and at safety for the 2025 class coming up with Brian Smith of Locked On. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster, and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job, but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring. So go post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. So, Brian, let's talk Dominic Williams. I almost said Dominic Smith. Dominic Williams real quick, because LSU wanted this kid, Texas wanted this kid, Missouri wanted him. Coming out of TCU, had really, really good production, I think, for a guy that's 320 that plays that nose tackle position. What do you make of the recruiting battle that Oklahoma won? What does it say about where Oklahoma's headed as a school and a program?
Well, I mean, number one, they were willing to pony up a lot of money. There's no doubt that was a money deal. But they got a guy that had proven ability. I mean, he started as a freshman on the team, went to the national title game. And he didn't do it at corner or running back. He did it in the middle of the defensive line. There have been, one or two other guys maybe do that in the last 10, 15 years. This is an NFL football player. He's 320. He has the athleticism to get to the quarterback. If you don't double him, you're in trouble. And he changes everything. So I think for Oklahoma, it shows, A, they're invested. B, he believes in him. I think Venable's reputation probably helped. Their entire defensive staff is really good. It's all the things you should expect. And if I remember right, he's a Dallas area kid. So that's the most important city for them to recruit. There's not even a second place, really. Oklahoma must win a lot of Dallas battles against the Longhorns, your favorite school, if they're going to be a national title contender. There's not a school in the country that didn't want him on their roster. Oklahoma doesn't want any more.
So 2025 five-star recruiting battles, Oklahoma's in a bunch of them. Jonah Williams, that's the one that I think everybody's kind of been keeping their eye on, because it seemed like Oklahoma was the favorite pretty early on in this one and for quite some time. And then things have kind of transitioned maybe to Texas A&M, but this probably feels like a recruiting battle that's going to go the distance to signing day.
100% agree. I was going to say that, or I had that in my mind before you were done saying what you did. Oregon's after him. I mean, if he called Kirby Smart right now, would Kirby take his call? Yeah. You know what I mean? That's the barometer I use. I know everybody hates me talking about. There's nobody even close to Georgia, like in terms of their management and their roster. There's not. It's Georgia and everybody else. And that's a kid that could make that phone call. So that puts that in perspective. And he's a kid athletically. I was talking to somebody about this a couple of weeks ago. Where do you play him at? Well, I said, that's really easy. Wherever he wants. Strong safety. Play him as a hybrid guy, that overhang linebacker. He's athletic enough to at least be competitive with slot guys, could take on a tight end in the screen game that's trying to block him, could blitz. He is a nightmare. A guy like Venables, I think he would be very happy with his options because he's a very unique chess piece. He's like a queen on the chessboard. 200 pounds, probably going to weigh 215. He could still play safety. He's athletic enough to do it. And if you wanted to transition him to play him at linebacker, more of a full, he's capable of doing that too. That is the definition of a five-star player.
Along the offensive line, this has to be one of the best offensive line classes in some time. How far back would you have to go to find one that has this much potential to it?
About once every 5 years, there's one like this. It's usually based on the following premise. There are just more guys with length that can play tackle. It's easier to go from outside to in instead of inside to out. Just in the state of Texas, there are 4 or 5 guys at offensive tackle that are good enough to play for any school in the country. OU has one of them committed already. I can't pronounce the kid's name, but he's really good. Then there's Michael Fasusi, who I met recently. When I shook his hand, I didn't see mine. That's a good sign for whoever he goes to. Great kid. And there are just so many guys. If you're Oklahoma, though, because and they shouldn't, Oklahoma fans will not let this staff off the hook. If they miss on the rest of the tackles in state, there will be hell to pay. That is my guess. I know OU fans aren't the most patient anyway, so they're in on all of them. They're going to get a visit from all of them. Now, can they deliver? So there's a couple out-of-state kids they might get, but they got to get one of the Dallas guys like Fasusi. Holy moly. That is an incredible athlete. You know, I'm sure they're trying to get everybody they can because they need linemen. But like Fasusi just says, I'm going to play by the end of my freshman year. Like if you've met him, you would understand that. I saw him across the field at the OT7 event, and everybody there, he was the one guy said, "Who is that?" And there were literally 100 kids within a small radius of me that were going to play Power 5. And he's the one guy I was like, I had to go find out who that guy was. So it's an elite tackle class, and a lot of them are really close to Norman, Oklahoma. They need to capitalize.
So the four tackles that Oklahoma seems to be most focused on at this point, at least the most high profile tackles, you got Andrew Babaloa out of Kansas, Ty Haywood
Really good
out of Texas, Michael Fasusi out of Texas, and then also LaMont Rogers out of Mesquite. So, you know, each of these guys I feel like has had favorable views at least of Oklahoma, but because of their ability, because of their size, because they have that ability to play pretty early on, it's not going to be an easy recruiting battle for any of these guys. So go any direction you want to go with this, but just tell us about some of these guys and what makes them so special.
Fasusi is just the raw athleticism. He's not as old school with his game. He's a little newer to it, but like his power, the way his frame is built, he's the guy that can weigh 330 and still play left tackle in 4.5. Like when he's going to the draft, he'll weigh 325 and still run like a 5.1 in the 40 or something crazy like that. From talking to him, Missouri and Oregon are a couple of schools outside his area that he's interested in. Then it's the normal LSU, Oklahoma, Texas, Texas A&M. He doesn't know where he's going. That one's going to go down the wire like he's overwhelmed. He's enjoying the process, but out of all of them, that one might have the most potential. I think Babaloa is the kid that, like, just athletically right now, if I said, you can only take a left tackle, which one would you take? I'd take him. He's the safest pick. That is just a freaky athlete. He could probably play strong side end in Georgia's 3-4 scheme. Like, he's just freaky athletic, but he's probably going to kick step for the rest of his life and make a lot of money doing it. I don't know where he's going to go. His list is all over the map. Auburn, Stanford, Oklahoma, Michigan. It is wild. I will not venture a guess on that, but just an insane prospect. Ty Haywood, A&M and Oklahoma, depending on who you want to talk to, is trending. They seem to be butting heads a lot, which is kind of old school. It's Texas recruiting. It's nothing really new. And then the one that I think will go Texas's way is LaMont Rogers, but that's just because the last interview I saw, it was a little more Texas bias, but Oklahoma and everybody else are trying to get him, and they'll get a visit. So if they get even one more of those, out of those four with the kid they got, they'd be good. They got to get one of them. They got to get one of them.
Yeah, and I think that's probably where everybody kind of lands. Obviously, you'd like to get more than one and be a little bit greedy on that front because you can never
Absolutely.
have too many really good offensive tackles in your arsenal, in your depth chart. But yeah, if you can get one, I think it really kind of sets the tone for the rest of the recruiting class and sets the tone for Bill Beatonbow and the offensive line, because everybody knows Bill Beatonbow can do a really good job developing. He can take 3-star guys and help get them to the NFL. He can take transfer portal guys and give them, an opportunity to get to the NFL as well. But kind of most recently, we just haven't seen him be able to hit that home run on the recruiting trail yet. And I say yet because I think it's going to happen. And I believe that Ryan Foje is a home run. That's a kid
really
that
good.
we saw the offer, and almost like as soon as we saw the offer and we talked about him on our show, we said, he's going to end up as a 4-star by the end of the cycle. And it wasn't a week later that he was a 4-star because he's got such naturally great ability and physicality, and he's so athletic and just scratching the surface on what he can be. But Babaloa, Fasusi, Haywood, and Rogers, got to get one of those. If you had to guess, if Oklahoma lands just one, who would you kind of power rank as the person or the player that they're most likely to get at this point? Now, not going to hold you to it because it's May 20, it's May. We're far from all these things being decided, but who do you think might be the most likely?
Ty Haywood, that would be my guess. Babaloa is the one I'm like, his visit list is just wild. It's like pick a dot in every corner of the United States. I won't, call me on signing day with where he signs. Rogers, a little more local, but that one's just not done yet. He needs to take his visits, so I'm not sure there either. Oklahoma is in the mix with all of them. 2-3 years ago, with these guys in their backyard, they probably wouldn't even got all of them to visit. That's probably the first thing you need to know. Got to get them on campus for OVs, for unofficials, games, etc. Oklahoma's done all those things, and obviously Beatonbow kind of helps, but they didn't always get those kids on campus. The staff is recruiting these kids, and NIL and all that plays into it. There's just so many options for all of them that it's hard to pick one spot.
Yeah, I always say I think it'd be impossible to be a 4 or 5 star prospect with 20 plus offers from Power 4 schools and try to figure out where's the best place to go. There's so many different things that factor into it. Just playing football is just one of them. And who your coach is going to be is just another one. There's like a myriad of things you have to sift through to figure out if that's going to be the best spot for you. So, hey, but the fact that Oklahoma's in the mix for all 4 of these guys is a testament to what Bill Beatonbow has done, especially most recently getting Anton Harris and Tyler Guyton drafted in the first round of the NFL draft. That helps set the stage. Coming up next, we're going to talk about a 2026 quarterback that Oklahoma has been heavily favored for. We'll do that next here on Locked On Sooners. When it comes to your financial future, you think you've done it all. You've saved, you've researched, you've invested all that you can. Now you need to take those investments to the next level by using what every financial great uses, Yahoo Finance. For more than 25 years, Yahoo Finance has been the brand behind every great investor. Whether you're a seasoned investor or are looking for that extra guidance like myself, Yahoo Finance gives you all the tools and data you need in one place. They are the #1 finance destination, producing a holistic look at the financial news cycle, including breaking news. So securely link your brokerage accounts for a unified view of your wealth, including 401k and other investments. With a community of over 90 million users each month, their real strength is helping you on your way to financial success. For comprehensive financial news and analysis, visit the brand behind every great investor, yahoofinance.com, the #1 financial destination, yahoofinance.com. That's yahoofinance.com. So I've been itching to get Brian on our show for quite some time because he's down in Florida. He is well in tune with everything that's happening down in Florida, and Oklahoma's in a really, really good spot to get 2026 quarterback Dereon Coleman, they've been heavily favored for quite some time. He's been on campus for spring game, other visits as well. Tell us about Dereon Coleman, the player, the person, and what Oklahoma might be seeing in this kid as a future quarterback for them.
Really good for his age. Keep in mind, he's at the end of his sophomore year, going to his junior year, and making decisions after the snap. When players move, when things don't go as planned, he doesn't panic. Very advanced mentally, understands that it's okay to check down or throw it out of bounds. Most guys, even in college, fail at that. And despite being slight, he's 160 pounds or so. He's still got to eat and get bigger. He's got a gun. I just recently saw him at OT7 in Kissimmee, Florida. He can rifle it in. If you're throwing 2 guys at a player, he'll find a way to get it pinpointed to the back shoulder or over the top, whatever it is. He'll find the right angle, the right trajectory, level 1, level 2, level 3 ball. And finally, he's just a nice guy to be around. Dereon's easygoing. He's talking to him about some other guys, other quarterbacks, picking his brain about him. And he's smart. Like, he sees the same things we do as scouts. And this is all we do every day is watch film. He's 15, 16 years old doing that. That's a really good sign for him. I didn't talk to him much about Oklahoma, but it's well known. That's the school. I've heard that for quite a while, just like you. And I could see why they would be very interested.
Athletically, what is he like as a player? Because obviously, he can run, but when I watch just kind of some of the huddle highlight stuff, I see a kid that looks more to pass than he is looking to run, but he's got that in his arsenal.
Because he's not that big, he just tries to stay away from contact. Like, he was 135, 140 pounds part of last year. Like, that's how little he was. He got thrown into the fire just because he was such a good passer. But he plays in Orlando. Trust me, there are really good players in Orlando. If you run around and you're not careful, you'll get your head knocked off. So they'd move the pocket with him, or he'd take off once in a while. But more often than not, he moved his feet to buy time and eventually release the football and get it to his receiver. That's what he'll do for now. If he gets up to 200 pounds, that might change. He's a good athlete, and he can run around and play something else. Like, he could be a baseball player or something like that too. But he just likes quarterback, and he really enjoys the challenge of picking guys apart. He'd rather be in the pocket.
What do you think is the best aspect of his game?
Probably the post-snap. Most kids his age, if the first read isn't there, a lot of kids struggle. If the second read isn't there, this is a dumpster fire. He will go to his third or fourth read, and that's just super rare. He doesn't force the ball into the middle of the field late. Like, how many times have you been in a game, like a high school game, you see the ball in the air, like, this is not going to end well.
Right.
You already know what's coming.
Yeah.
5 seconds into the play, you're throwing it deep down the middle. Don't do it. Too late. He doesn't make those kind of plays. If you don't turn the ball over, I don't care which level it is, we would go and study, John. The team that turns it over fewer times wins, 70, 80% of the time? He will help you in that endeavor. And then, again, he's very accurate. So if you can do those two things, there's a world of potential.
So, Seth Luttrell, we've seen a little bit of it from the Alamo Bowl performance. It was very RPO based. So we'll see what that looks like when we get into the fall. I don't know if it was just, hey, I've only been the offensive coordinator calling plays for the last month, so we're going to try to keep things kind of more simple. But how might he fit into a Seth Luttrell RPO style system?
Well, he's good at reading things. So I'm sure you've seen this too, where the guy should have given it, or the guy should have kept whatever it is, and he just runs himself into a bad play. I don't think Dereon will do that very often. So, and it's pretty simple. You're reading one guy most of the time. That'll be really easy for him. At the same time, they can add things with him that are more complex pre-snap, motions and shifts, setting up the run game. Beanball's offensive line, if you set it up right, you don't have to do much work as the quarterback. He'll be happy to do it. He just wants to win. So RPO based or not, it'll be a little more complex with this kind of kid. Oklahoma would be in good shape.
Yeah, he's a very intriguing player and someone that's got a lot of athleticism. I think you're right. Adds a little bit more size to him, and I think most people take more notice of what he's capable of doing because the accuracy is there, the arm strength is there, and I mean, again, I'm just looking at highlights, so I don't get to see the full picture. But based on what you're telling me, the mentality is there, and the awareness is there, and that's, to me, accuracy and awareness are the two most important things to playing quarterback beyond the physical things, or even including the physical things. If you can't know where guys are supposed to be and you can't put the ball where it's supposed to be, you're going to struggle regardless of how hard you can throw the ball and how far you can throw the ball.
That is true at all levels. And the more you go through it and get up the level to college, and then it's everything, because they can run really fast as further along you go. So, yeah, Dereon's a good kid, and I think he'll do well.
All right, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in to the show and being a part of it. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. Follow Brian on Twitter at FBScout_Florida. Also, go check out his work across the network. He joins several shows every single week, breaking down recruiting specifically for those teams, but also giving us a national view of what's going on the recruiting landscape. So go check all that out on the Locked On Network as well. You can also read his work with all Hurricanes at SI. So all Hurricanes at SI, and then also subscribe to Locked On Seminoles if you want to get that Seminoles content as well. Might be part of the SEC one day. So you got to get to know Brian.
That's right.
But hey, that's going to do it. Until next time, I'm John Williams. He's Brian Smith. Boomer Sooner.